cameras are rolling, Jake. Welcome to Inside the Tax Hive. We're here with Aaron Hageman, and excited to learn a lot about you and your businesses and your background. We also have our great Sean Finnegan here. He always tells me you make friends.
Right? That's what I do for a living.
That's what you do for a living.
It's my job.
Friends. So yeah, we're great to have a friend in Aaron, and thanks for being on with us, brother.
Thanks, guys. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm excited.
Aaron is great energy. I saw you at an event that you were putting on in Arizona at Sedona. It was like magical experience. You definitely shine amongst that group. I mean, you have a good following with people and you're a great thought leader. So we're excited to dig into your past. We want to hear the story. I'd love to start with maybe this story. The Walmart store, if you wouldn't mind starting there.
Yeah, let's start with the biggest story.
Working on.
Start right at the top of the mountain. I appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. I mean, I think my passion comes through in, anything I do because I love entrepreneurialism. Like I was telling you guys, I'm a big business nerd. So to get to the story, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've owned quite a few different businesses. Owned a marketing company, digital marketing company, a AAA soccer team in New Mexico.
AAA soccer?
Yeah.
So this is like not the MLS.
At the time. Yeah, no, it's in the USL soccer system. You know,
Kind of a father league for the bigger leagues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just in the growth.
What was the name of the team?
The Albuquerque Soul. The Albuquerque.
I used to live in Albuquerque.
Oh man, we can talk. I was literally just there this Sunday, so we could share stories.
Lots of green chilies.
I'm an adopted New Mexican, and that's right. That's right. I got all the green chilies I could over the weekend.
That's great.
But for most of my career, I owned and ran as the active CEO of that business a large HR tech platform. Really, simply put, looking back, we kind of would refer to it as kind of like the ADP for independent contractors. Really, so an entire back office suite, and we specialized in 1099 labor for everything from onboarding, accounting and tax work, risk management. Again, just a whole HR,
Probably
solution.
Prior to that, HR was literally one person running a certain size company that was running all the ins and outs of HR. And so you took it and made it more of a SaaS and more of a tech platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Started the business in the late 90s, sold it and exited just under 2 years ago, 2022. So recently. And in that time, you're exactly right. Turned it from a service business where we did, payroll on spreadsheets and print checks and FedEx send them around the country to an entirely SaaS-enabled platform where everything was automated, supporting, some of the largest programs in the country at the time.
Dang.
Wow.
So what we did is supported strategically. We chose to, no pun intended, but stay in our lane with drivers. The name of the company was Delivery Drivers Incorporated. And so transportation, delivery, heavy sectors where there's 1099 labor. So we specialize in that. We're really about two things. One, from a business standpoint, helping, our clients do that right, compliance and grow and create great systems. But for me, the entrepreneur and, the teacher and coach at heart, really, I loved, and we adopted for over 20 years, this ideology of supporting the solopreneur, right? Helping a 1099 contractor.
Because they're underserved.
Oh, yeah.
Where are they going to go?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But growing faster than ever. Labor studies show it's going to be 30% of our workforce easily by 2030, if not before. Yeah. And I probably have those numbers wrong. I haven't thought about it.
Well, it's probably bigger than they're estimating. I mean, you look at social media is like side hustle. Everybody is a solopreneur. Yeah, seems like nowadays.
You're 100% right. I actually I have talked in the media before about how COVID really challenged a lot of mindsets.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I look at my wife these days. She's worked with her company for years, 15, 20 years. And, even executives in those scenarios got furloughed. You take it for granted. And so the shock to the system and the world really caused people to kind of look at, well, what could I do on the side? Maybe I won't put all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And now culturally, if you're a business and you're an entrepreneur, we talk about staffing challenges, right? You're trying to recruit people in your organization. It's not the 20th century mentality anymore.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, hey, you come, you work for me, you get your pension, you can't have any other jobs.
My dad had the same job for 40 years.
No, to recruit talent, you have to embrace the side hustle. Yeah. You could work from home. Sure, don't worry about your Instagram.
You got some other stuff going on. We're cool.
Tag us in it, I guess. Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, anyways, getting on.
It's almost as if COVID pulled people out of the rat race, right, for long enough that they were like, this is kind of nice. Maybe I should do more of this, and like the 9 to 5 still exists, obviously, but it seemed like there was some new innovation and just, people experiencing a different lifestyle for it.
Probably light years better than it was prior to the pandemic, right? As far as the technology goes, keeping track of people, the systems, processes to manage someone remote.
Yeah, I think it challenged everything, honestly.
sure.
I mean, heck, it challenged me to speak for myself. I'd been an entrepreneur easily 20 years already, plus at that point when COVID started. And I'm a people guy. I'm a high energy guy. Come to the office. Let's work together. Let's whiteboard. That's a verb, right? Let's get together, collaborate, create. And magic happens around the water cooler. I was that boss. I was that CEO. I still believe that. Don't get me wrong. But had to change. Had to embrace this isn't going to work right now. I mean, beyond the fact we were forced to work from home, I mean, we all, I think, had to recognize the shift, the change in our culture.
And you said another thing. So people that do have the 9 to 5, maybe that it turned us all upside down so much. They're like, I do need a side hustle. I also want to have another 1099 income where I can work remote in that piece and bring in revenue.
Yeah, maybe people looking at it going, and I'll bet there's a ton of people in our audience, your audience, that got their start during COVID. I know for one of my businesses, Club Pickleball USA, we started that in the height of COVID. And it was like, man, you take a step back during that time and you think, okay, yeah, just for my own security and also just, the fun and the challenge of small business, why not start something?
There's a lot of stories like that. A mutual friend, I think, of some of ours, Dan Fleischman, started a hobby project. He talked about cards and coffee, right? That was just something he was bored. It was in COVID. He liked, Pokemon cards and coffee and all that type of stuff. And that's a 8-figure, multi-location business all over the Western United States now. They're growing and growing. So so many examples of that.
Right. Yeah.
So COVID's a great jumping point off to the story. So I had owned Delivery Drivers Inc., DDI, we called it, the HR tech platform, for years. And we picked up and we supported delivery programs and their 1099 networks, right? So we picked up Walmart as a client in 2017, 2018, in that early phase. And
when you say you picked up Walmart,
Sure.
all their drivers, their delivery people, what does it mean to pick up Walmart?
No, that's a great question. I think, they're a company with massive resources. So when they want to try something strategically important to the story is that, they have the resources to put 19 irons in the fire. And we were truly one of 20, 24 vendors because they wanted to build this idea they had of doing, grocery delivery. Novel little concept of 2017. Maybe that'll be a cool thing to do.
But plus they also, I think, Amazon's kicking in really hard. Their bricks and mortar, right? They're looking to say, hey, how do we compete with them? Maybe going more to the consumer direct, right?
Yeah, 2 divisions. I mean, by the numbers, by and far, Walmart is the largest grocer in the country. Right? So they had the brick and mortar component already. They have the groceries. So they're looking at the e-commerce strategies like a lot of businesses,
right?
And changing and adopting. But again, we were working next to us, other vendors, competing in so many senses. It's the same account were, Postmates and DoorDash and Uber and later Uber Eats and these types of concepts, right? Just to deliver. And they were trying to figure it out. And every year they would cut, if you didn't make the metrics, it's Walmart style. If you didn't make the cut,
their
right.
It's a golden rule, right?
Yeah. They would, first year dropped a third of the vendors. The second year in the program, I'm proud to say, the company, we won Last Mile Partner of the Year. Really, we're doing good things, investing a lot. That was a big key to our success back into the program and growing with them. And then COVID happened. So we were already doing our thing. We were already
it's got a process break on the truck that you threw Walmart in.
No.
Okay.
COVID was hitting the NOS button. It was hitting the NOS button. Fast and the Furious, right?
Yeah.
For us, it was truly from that day or period in February, March 2020 to the 2.5 year mark later when I ended up selling the business, we never stopped hiring. Wow. We never. I'm proud to say we created a lot of jobs.
So many companies at the time were just laying off, letting people go, and
we looked at never cut hours. In fact, we sent everybody home, gave them an increased stipend to make sure they had just extra $50 a month, so they had Wi-Fi and no excuses and things like that. Let them raid the office, take their office chairs and all the stuff because COVID was crazy, and we just had to go because we had work to do.
Looking back, it's like COVID either crushed you or you crushed it.
Certain industries, certain companies excelled right during that
time. For us, it was truly, I know it sounds, looking back, it's a great success story. I'm very proud of it. but it was surfing a tidal wave.
Yeah.
Right? We were out there, we were surfing, here comes the tidal wave, right? It's either going to make it, you're going to get it, or it's going to crush you.
It's a timing piece.
So the timing was right. We were in the market, we were there, but it was like, okay, we have to perform now, like, or it would have swallowed us very, very easily. To the story, went on a 75x journey over the next 2.5 years.
Wow.
And ended up doing an exit and an acquisition with Walmart.
It's a challenge to go even 2x in a business.
I was gonna say 70 is like making the Grant
75, my friend. Don't forget the 5. We worked hard for that.
That's right. That's kind of making the Grant Cardone 10X thing.
Seem Italy.
Like
10x.
Yeah, I was teasing Ben Hardy through a friend. You know, I was like,
What was the key to going to 75x? Like, what would you say the top? These are really what helped us get that to that point.
entrepreneurially speaking and thinking with that lens, you know, talking to you and our audience, is a couple of things. I really believe in mentors and coaching, right? I recognize what we had. We saw the tidal wave coming, and we hired all of the coaches we could and really accelerated some of those programs. And what I mean by that, I had a great management and leadership team, but it did not have, going into this period, right, a couple of years before, as the tidal wave was coming, say 2020, I didn't have the executive team that had this experience. But I'm starting the answer with coaching, because having the coaches, and a great coach of mine and friend Amit Katari and his firm came in as our executive utility belt. The Katari Leadership is the name of my friend's firm, and he came in and we started working on things like EQ, right? And addressing the fears around the incumbent leadership team that this is going to grow. We have a crazy opportunity. You've worked with me as my number 2 for 15 years.
Yep.
I got to go recruit a COO from Chicago that's done this 5 times. Because the coaching lesson here that I would offer for all of us is to find the Sherpas in the world. In our mastermind where we were hanging out, Sean, we talked about the idea of counsel versus advice. My dad gave me great advice never to buy this business, and it came from a place of love where he was coming from back in the day. But counsel is people who've walked that walk, the Sherpas who know the path, who've gone through this. So that was my coaches that have gone through these scenarios already. And that was finding executive teams that I'm asking them, have you built $1 billion company before?
Right.
That was literally like a recruiting question, because we're passing numbers head over heels. Have you handled this velocity? Have you done this? And finding those people to bring onto the team, that was the key, truly, to success.
It's interesting. A lot of business owners say, I've gotten to this point, I'm successful myself. Why would I listen to someone else?
So I love business and I love entrepreneurialism. I act as an advisor and consigliere with a lot of different companies these days. And it's because there's a way to build a good business, which is building businesses through your people. It's about building an engine and a great place to work.
Yeah.
Because it's about building those teams and those systems that are not incumbent upon you or me or any individual entrepreneur.
It's crazy to think, like, in the absence of that coaching, the absence of that expertise, what do you think the outcome looks like? Like, how would that have changed?
Quite candidly, I think, at least in this particular relationship, seeing now, hindsight's 2020, right? Seeing now that the end game was to find the winning vendor and make that the end game solution, I mean, we probably would have ended up on the cutting room floor.
Eventually,
Right? Because if there's 5 vendors left, there was truly one left standing at the end, and that was the one that they acquired for the program.
It seems like this is not as crystal clear in business, because a lot of these things are kind of masked, or it's maybe not as, prevalent to the outside. And but man, in sports, like, you think of the NFL or any other major sport, it's the ultimate meritocracy, right? Like, the cream, right? You got the Tyreek Hills, the LeBron James, the whoever it is running quarterback. And the same is true from an organizational level, right? Like, the leadership and the coaching that happens. It's like, man, why were the Patriots so good for so long? Why does Mike Tomlin somehow always get the Steelers to the playoffs? Like,
but I'll take it further on that, because I was listening, because I'm a big football guy. I was listening this morning. 3 coaches in 55 years. That's how many head coaches the Steelers have had.
yeah,
Right.
jeez.
Like that's an insane number. When you think of the
And then you go to like the Jets.
no, like, let's just go right
every 2 years.
Let's go right to the record books. Let's go right to the stats. Like Steelers are, like, if I'm not mistaken, top number 1 to number 2.
Yes,
and Lombardi,
I think.
yeah, right, ever. So the proof is now in organizational stability.
Yeah,
I think the Steelers organization would agree with this conversation, and that there's a way to run a football club. There's a way to run a business, and I really believe in that idea.
Where do great athletes and great performers go to die? They go to the Jets. They go to the Panthers. They go like the teams that are like a death sentence for top tier talent. You could have considered your organization as like, no, man, like I'm a number 1 draft pick. I got Walmart in my back, in the back of my car. I don't need any advisors. I don't need any coaches. And it's like, you could have been the first round draft pick that ended up on a team that just failed. Thankfully, you had the wisdom to say, no, I need an amazing coach. I need some, good people at a high level.
Again, appreciate the kind words. It's the way that I think about businesses that I own, that I'm participating in, that I'm running. And it's the same process and approach to really how I work in an advisory capacity or fractional CEO with companies these days as well.
Yeah.
So you want to think about that, and we're looking at there's good ways to do things. There's great ways to build teams. There's consistent good ways to communicate internally with your crew, your team. And what we would talk about would apply to, I would argue, most every business. You got to adapt it. You got to apply it.
Sure.
I'm an 80% guy. Fine. I'll give you 100 things. 80 of them should work.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to create a good system. And suddenly people are going to really appreciate working at an organization because, wow, we really communicate well. We're aligned. You're going to hear things like that. The culture is we're all on the same page. Like, oh, it's no silos these types of languages. Well, again, I would argue there's a way to do that in everything we do, from soccer team to an HR company to tax Hive.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with you on the greatest way to learn is from someone who has experience. It's like, go for someone who has actually been there. I love your advice on the counsel piece, which is like, hey, here's a couple of things that you should consider, because they've probably been through some stuff, right, that'll help you get through. And so I think it's interesting. The first thing you turn to as you're going to 75X is actual mentorship and counsel from really experienced people. And that's what ultimately got you through all that.
I wasn't even contemplating the 75X. The quick story behind all this is we were doing, I don't know, about 30 million. And we had just got the Walmart account. We started to do some good things. I went to a mastermind room and met at the time, this is years ago, but a mutual friend, Randy Garn.
Yeah, sure.
Of ours. And Randy heard me telling the story to the room. And I'm like, guys, I really have this. I have a real 10X scenario in front of this. I think we can put a 0 on my revenue, maybe even more. And I, a seasoned entrepreneur, thought I had it, got the first round draft pick in the bag, right? A little bit to that degree in that room. Randy comes up, didn't even know me at the time, became later a friend and then an advisor, and really started, he goes, no, bro, if you know Randy's all energy. He's like, no, bro, you don't even see what you have. If I fast forward the story, he joined the team, changed my perspective as a quick outside mentor and advisor suddenly. And we had a mantra where we were chasing, and we called it from 0.5 to 5.0, meaning our internal executive strategy was chasing a 500 million in receivables to 5 billion in receivables. Ooh. And when we handed it off, I'm proud to say we handed off at about a $2 billion run rate and what we were trying engine overall.
So wow. So tell us about the end of the story.
Yeah.
So we kind of left off the 75X,
right? And
then what happened next?
As we got to the strategic end, and we were working on the customer acquisition scenario where Walmart wanted to buy us, the part of the story that really, as an entrepreneur, I'm proud of and that I think of and talk about is the people side of the business. Because as a servant leader, if you're kind of walking the talk, right, one of the most important things was integrating my team into the incumbent team, making sure. So we had about 90 W-2 employees, give or take, on the team when the transaction went down. And I reviewed personally every offer letter, and I can't talk about it too much, but I'm proud to say everybody moved forward in their careers.
Amazing.
The day they went over.
Yeah.
There was in a larger organization, suddenly there was promotions available that my growing team just didn't even have yet.
Yeah.
Right. And suddenly, so very, very proud as an entrepreneur of that piece of the handoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like obviously you had a big win, like big win, but then you felt like the people in your organization that helped you had a big win as well.
Absolutely. Considering making sure that piece went smoothly was important to both sides of the transaction.
Because there's two different cultures, right? I mean, you're going from the culture you built to a mega culture.
Yeah, what did I say? 90 employees to
Yeah.
2.6 million.
Yeah, right.
I think legitimately, if I'm
Yeah, and the fact that you can actually transition the 90 and make them feel comfortable in a completely new environment says so much.
So I can wrap the story up pretty quickly because in this case, what I'm proud to say is that they made an offer to everybody on the team, and everybody went over except for me. I stayed on as an outside advisor for a little bit, but I'm proud to say we had created a well-run machine. Took the machine, ran with it, and that was really the handoff. It was, I often say, I'm proud to say, one of the kind of cleanest entrepreneurial exits that, me and my friends will share out there talking about those types of things. So that was excellent. Then, that was a crazy run.
Were you tempted to kind of hang it up at that point and not work?
Well, no. Again, going back to counsel, advisors, peers, friends, studying their journeys. I knew I was going to sell this company because the transaction took a little while, right? So what am I doing in the 9 months it's going down? I'm talking to everybody I know that's had an exit. Well, what do you do? Well, we're wrong. Well, we're right.
Smart.
Where did you go crazy? How did you do this? Like, I took too much time. I did this. So again, I'm just a learner. So I was out there going, okay, how do I
leadership?
How do I not do this? And one of the lessons I learned from a good friend, Scott Duffy, is his words ringing in my head that, if we're not adding value to our network, we're easily replaceable very quickly. So momentum was my takeaway out of that, to stay involved, to stay, have an advisory project or two. I love business, dabble, help some friends on their businesses and some clients on what they're working on, and slow down for a bit. These days, though, as we hit about the 2-year mark, started ramping it up with the team, got a formal active advisory program for businesses that are in those growth stages right now. So, I have some clients and back in the game sort of formally now, working on different businesses and different stages of growth, which is really exciting to me.
Yeah, that's the been there, done that resume, offering your advisory services. And now it's cool in hearing your story. You listed off like 5 or 6 names that were like, had an impact. Now you've got the opportunity to do the same for others, and it's pretty remarkable.
What do you do for businesses now? So tell us about the program. What's the value proposition for someone who's like you're rapidly growing their business?
So I'm it might not come across this way all the time, I've realized, because I'm a really high energy guy, and I'm a big numbers nerd is the truth behind this. And I'm pretty confident that through efficiencies and through unit model optimization and kind of really look at organizational architecture, that I'm very good at helping clients squeeze, that extra 2 to 5% out of the bottom line. And in the right size organization, that's worth its weight in gold, truly. But that is in the process and chasing efficiency and a well-run machine that's not so entrepreneurial and dependent. So to your question, to a point, I am very good at providing the space for my entrepreneurial partners to work on their business versus in their business. We're always striving to work on it. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Like helping you solve the puzzle without necessarily worrying about what the picture of the puzzle is right now.
What kind of business owner do you like to attract? Like where do you feel like you can make the biggest impact?
To me, I am, one of my core values, and I really know about myself, is I am a lifelong learner. And one of the manifestations of that in my personality is I'm a teacher at heart. So the clients and the entrepreneurs that work with me really, really well, that resonate with me, they just love to learn. They're always picking up some nugget. I got, a sticky brain, and I'm always remembering stuff. And I love to teach. So I'm in that teaching mode. It's how I work as a CEO in my own organizations, right? Focusing on helping the team, build the team, and these types of things. The entrepreneurs that are learners, man, we work great together.
Yeah, that's the personality. What about on the revenue? Is this hey, I'm in pre-rev mode. I'm doing my first $500,000. I'm at $1 million, and now I want a 75x.
75x always that's a perspective goal, right? Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of the moon on the wall, right? We can shoot for the moon.
That is the moon shot.
Land on the stars, or whatever the analogy is. No, growth mode entrepreneurialism is my answer.
At any stage.
And there's tranches of growth, as we know. And there's different things where you're kind of getting your first team together, or now we're passing that $8 million mark in revenue, and now we must systemize. I was talking to somebody today about, okay, now you're at the $40 million mark. Now we need to talk about automation and technologies to move any further, right? And economies of scale. So it's a broad answer, but I can help the startups. I can help the early stage entrepreneurs. But with a good moving train that has an opportunity to go a little faster, add another track, this type of thing.
Yep.
That's the businesses that we really can make some quick impact.
Awesome. And where would you say, so, we got all these listeners in the Tax Hive community.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, major exit, love the intro. How does somebody pay attention to and keep track of what you're doing? Where do they find you online? How do they get in touch? That kind of thing.
The easiest thing for the audience on this, and we can make sure we include it all in here, is LinkedIn. Just find me directly, Aaron Hageman. You'll find me there.
You check it yourself.
I do, actually, on the LinkedIn one now. So, just send me a direct message on there.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, saw you on Tax Hive with Sean and everybody.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Great.
And happy. That's a quick, easy way to connect and, share.
Great.
Love it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you,
I
guys.
wanted to hear this story and go into more detail, and it was mission accomplished. So thank you so much for being
super motivating. It's, once you think you've arrived, it's like, man, there's a whole nother level in the game. And just because you're a first round draft pick doesn't mean it's, that you've arrived, right? You gotta stay hungry and keep after it.
And greatest takeaway is get out of that lane as an entrepreneur and start reaching out to other people who have experience to help you along the way. I think that's overarching. That's going to be a great takeaway for entrepreneurs watching the show.
Absolutely.
Find your coaches.
Yeah. Any final words? Is that the final word? Find your coach.
That's it. If we're going to stick with that, find your coaches. We have coaches at all stages of our life, right? We always hear of, Alex Rodriguez coming in, getting a new batting coach and reinventing his batting swing, and Tiger Woods and these stories. We have coaches for different things at different times of our life. Go get a health coach and, a spirituality coach and, or guru, as it were, or, and a physical trainer. We all need different things, executive coaches. Just so, I believe in that, always keep learning.
Awesome.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you, guys.
Conversation.
Appreciate it.
You've been inside the Tax Hive. Thanks for tuning in, and give Aaron a chat on LinkedIn. Thanks so much.
Sweet. Let's get a photo.